Hello friends, fans, and dairy products of all ages, this is Cheese of Ages here. And I'm here to make a sequel to my previous ranked placements related video. Last time I jumped into the ranked, like, oh, I'll just play some ranked. Just to say some curiosity. And then shortly thereafter they announced the end of the season. It had been my first time going into ranked, so I didn't know it was ending so soon. So I didn't bother actually pursuing much advancement in ranked, because there was no way that within a month I was going to advance anyway, and I was just going to get undone, so what was the point? So I made a video about the living fracking hell that I went through in ranked last season, and I figured, hey, let's do placements again, make a sequel video. It's pretty much my sole reason for playing them again, because I really didn't care to personally go through that over again unless it was for this video. So appreciate this. But yeah, it wasn't nearly as a toxic as shit experience as last year was. It might be because I waited until the new champion select was fixed, because it was initially bugged. I waited until people could queue for the two roles they preferred, rather than going into the old style, where they just oh no, somebody else picked it before I could, oh no, and pick order and stuff like that. I waited until the system would keep me safely away from jungling, which I'm not very well practiced in which I could actually contour to the role I prefer, that I could omit roles I don't want. While there's still flaws in the system at this point of the thing, it did make my overall experience a little bit better, which has its negative points, because now this video is not going to be nearly as interesting as the last one was, because it wasn't nearly as toxic. So I'm going to throw in some of the post-placements games I went through, because those became a bit more interesting. Not a solid extra 10 or anything, just a handful, to spruce the thing up a bit. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'm just going to tell you right off, spoiler warning, I didn't do nearly as well this time around. Both in the sense that I didn't place nearly as high, because it's actually apparently common for you to fall a rank from where you finished last season. And because I did not perform nearly as well in these games. Both in the sense that the teams just didn't do super great, and that I just didn't play good. So let's go into a breakdown of how things went. Number 1 match. I actually numbered them this time, so I won't lose track of what number I'm on. I'm learning. Number 1. Lost. No big surprise there. I honestly didn't do very well in this game. I made a couple of crucial mistakes. And got outplayed, but I was doing well early, and then the jungler kept coming in to babysit the Tryndamere that I was going up against. And Tryndamere's a bit tricky to go up against anyway, because of his high amounts of sustain and his ability to immediately as any time his ult is up, he just outduels you no matter what you do. In a lot of the cases, I could have done better. I made some mistakes. I could have warded more, even though I didn't ward badly. I could have warded more. I could have played a little bit better in my exchanges. It had been nice if the jungler had come up to gank a bit. Overall, the Tryndamere just got fed, because it was Tryndamere, and the enemy jungler saved his ass a bunch of times. Every time. For the first fourth, maybe third of the game, I had his ass. I was just destroying him. But then the jungler was okay, I'm here, and I had to back off. Or just babysit the guy. But yeah, this became problematic throughout the game as top lane became the bitch. My lane became the bitch that the enemy team would just pound relentlessly, because mid spent all her time bot, and the team was just so hard pushing bot that there was no pressure anywhere else on the map but bot lane. And what does it mean when there's only pressure in bot lane? Then there's a lane with the enemy team has all the pressure, we have no pressure, and then there's me in the top lane. What do you think happens? The entire team spends the entire game wasting time going after bots so hard. It amounts to the enemy jungler riding the Tryndamere cock all game. I'm being very vulgar this time around, I don't know why. I'm just reading it straight off of the freaking notes I made directly after each game. So, saltiness is in these scripts, apparently. I apologize for the foul language. So yeah, I was agitated about that very clearly. Alright, number 2, Lost. This one, a lot of it was me. I got my shit just kicked. I won't even lie. That Zed that I was against as Talon was just flat better than me. I was destroyed, styled on. That guy, much better Zed than I was as Talon. He just outperformed my ass. And it didn't help that top kept ignoring my warning pings and blaming me for not running up top to help him. And this is a common theme. And then this dude in the top lane, I think it was a freaking Atrox, which is one of the hardest to gank champions in the game, split pushed at every opportunity, and we never grouped. I mean, I know Atrox is a split push champion, but there's a time and place for split push, even on split push champions. You don't split push if your team can't 4v5. And when the entire enemy team is somewhat of a poke initiate composition, they can't fucking not engage in a team fight. But yeah, the enemy, he ignored my warning pings and blamed me for it, and nobody grouped, and people kept split pushing, and there's a Fed assassin on the enemy team, so this is just a death sentence. So yeah, I got my ass kicked by the Zed, but the team just handed the game to him. It's like, oh, look, mid's feeding an assassin. We better be by ourselves all the goddamn time. Also, there was a duo queue in there that was really toxic in champion select, but thankfully wasn't toxic in game. Although they tend to just blame me for everything. They didn't properly adjust to my. They didn't even make an attempt to adjust to the fact that there was Fed Assassin, like I've said multiple times. And in my previous thing, I've blamed other lanes for things. But I made compensation things. I played accordingly. I would not say that kind of shit if I didn't have some grounds to it. If I was just being in my lane, it's oh, top is feeding, I'd better thrust my genitals into the enemy tower. I deserve to lose. No, I wasn't doing that. I was playing in accordance to there being a fed as fuck assassin or something on the other team. I was playing accordingly. These guys, oh well, look, a fed assassin that's destroying, just utterly destroying other lanes. I better freaking be out of position all the time. And because I had a duo queue on my team, there was a duo queue on the enemy team, and they claimed to be Platinum Smurfs. I'm inclined to believe them because they came to my defense when my teammates blamed their mistakes entirely on me. Though I'll admit I misplayed a few times. It wasn't entirely me. It was a lot me because I fed the Zed, but he was just better than me. I could not do anything. It got out of my hand. I'll admit, he got fed because I wasn't as good as him. I'll admit that. They didn't adjust accordingly. I made a few mistakes. And it's there. This is a continuous theme for 4 out of the 10 games here, in which I don't do great, not necessarily feed, but I don't do great, and my team blames me even though they don't play accordingly, and they ignore all the things I'm trying to do, and ignore basic mechanics. So anyway, number 3, Lost. Lux got first blood on me in mid. I was playing Talon again. Lux, despite being a squishy mage, is really hard to deal with on melee assassins in mid lane, despite being an immobile mage, because she has a shield, she has a root, she has zoning potential, she has like freakishly long range. She's, of all the immobile mages, she's got a lot of tools to deal with assassins. She got first blood on me because I made a mistake. I will admit that. But again, the game is handed to the enemy because the freaking people ignore my pings and don't back off. And they keep saying to focus certain people and then not focusing them. And we had no team cohesion. Again. And this game we had a Garen that refused to buy armor and kept diving 1v5, and the ADC kept bad-mouthing us. It was fucking annoying. So, let's continue we've repeated pretty much the exact same situation for 2 games in a row. Although I didn't feed nearly as badly this time as I did against the Zed. I contributed. The 4th game, lost. I was Lux this time, and I was handling the situation reasonably well. But again, the bot lane ignores my warning pings, and then blames me for not chasing a assassin blindly into the darkness of a lane they didn't ward. So let's just go into this now. Let's just go into this now, even though it's going to come up again, probably. Not in the next game, but it's going to come up again. Mid lane. Pings missing, and then pings warning, indicating that the mid laner is coming to you. You do not continue pushing the tower. You do not stay right next to the tower's aggro range. You do not keep thrusting your genitals into the enemy tower. Because even if I do chase them and they don't just turn around and destroy my ass because I'm in the darkness and they baited me, even if that risk wasn't a factor, which it is and will happen 9 times out of 10, even if that wasn't a factor, that person's still going to be getting there before me because they have a fucking head start. So why would you want to be against the turret with them coming up? Because they're going to get there first, even if I come. Even if I did get there first, why would you want us to fight her next to the turret? Why wouldn't you want to fight her further away from the turret, further away from her allies, and further away from her getting the safety? Next, why the fuck are you not backing off to safety? Practicing basic laning mechanics. No, it is not the mid laner's responsibility to immediately chase after them out of lane unless that person is really behind. What the mid laner is supposed to do, and this is basic elementary mechanics for laning, is they're supposed to ping, you're supposed to back to a safe position, they're supposed to hyper fast clear the wave to get their minions under the turret, so that because this person roamed, they will lose more farm. And then, once they've got the minions underneath the tower, making the enemy lose more, they come down and counter gank the enemy mid laner, possibly destroying all 3 that have pushed up on you and have pushed farther away from safety, without getting anything on you because you backed off when you were supposed to. Like an intelligent human being with a basic comprehension of the most elementary mechanics of the game. That's what you're supposed to fucking do when somebody fucking pings, fucking missing, and heading your way. You are not supposed to put yourself in the most disadvantageous situation for any fight to occur. Even if I had TP and got there, even if if mid, the jungler, and top lane all showed up to your lane to meet that fracking mid laner that roamed down there, you still should have backed the fuck off, so if they were going to go in on you, they wouldn't have a free escape. It's like, I'll just wander into the tower. I'll just, like, be with two of my compatriots. You should have backed the fuck off so that she would have had to go out farther away from safety so that you could actually fight her proficiently. It's called basic mechanics and common goddamn sense. Enemy missing, look out, she's heading your way, does not mean continue thrusting your genitals into the enemy tower and expect me to miraculously teleport down there and kill her immediately. Because fuck you. Anyway. Where else did I say in this? I'll just read it verbatim what I said. As Lux this time versus a Katarina, because apparently mages are supposed to chase assassins blindly into the darkness, and not warding or having any response at all to my pings is apparently how you are supposed to play the freaking game, and has nothing to do with them getting ganked by her, because I'm supposed to let her bait me into an ambush in the river so they can die a little later. It's because they don't pay any fucking attention. Yes, the fact that nobody else was doing their fucking job had absolutely nothing to do with our loss. Their jungler babysitting their Katarina religiously early game, and my jungler having never appeared to do anything is my fault too. Oh, and the Braum trying to 1v1 the Trundle after everyone had backed off, and me trying to save his ass, is apparently my fault too, and I should shut the fuck up. Because everyone backs off, and the freaking Braum decides he's going to start punching Trundle, even though the Trundle is nowhere near any of us. And then everyone yells at me for, like, throwing CC towards the Trundle and trying to fucking save the Braum. And us both dying, because the Braum decided he was going to initiate for no reason. It's apparently my fault. And I should shut the fuck up. Anyway, number 5. Let's just move on from that game that made me incredibly salty, because everyone was fucking yelling at me for no goddamn thing. Number 5. You want to know what actually happens when people properly respond to warning pings? Can you guess? When? I originally got bot lane in the new champion select because I was trying to escape mid for a bit. After that, travesty of a trio of matches. And it wasn't destined. Yeah, I got bot. But then the one that got mid asked to trade for bot, and I said sure and went Talon again, instead of Lux in the previous game. And I was immediately groaned when the support picked Taric. Taric's fucking useless. And then they had a Quinn mid and a Rengar in the jungle. So, like, Quinn has range and massive burst damage and can blind. I was like, oh god. You know, this Quinn's going to be just destroy me, because I've been destroyed by freaking Quinns before. I'm sure everybody has. And Rengar, like, everyone complains about Rengar because they don't know how to ward. Anyway, thankfully both were sloppy as hell, and people actually listened to pings from me, and the jungler also pinged and also was responded to, so things went well. I mean, when the jungler, like, oh look, somebody's here, like, and it's like, oh yeah, I was just spotting that, or like, oh, I didn't notice that, I'll come and help you collapse on them. I'll respond to that. It's like, oh, look out, like, bot lane, my enemy's missing and heading in that direction. They immediately back off, and I'm like, hallelujah, hallelujah. And you know what fucking happened? They got to safety. I hyperclicked the wave. It went under their tower. Their mid lost the freaking entire minion wave. I roamed down there, like, immediately after getting my minions to the tower, collapsed on them, and we got a fucking triple. Because they played with basic mechanics and the slightest semblance of intelligence. And later, when I pinged for a roam again, they immediately shifted to the exact position that they needed to be, collapsed on the person, and killed them. I didn't even need to attend. Who could have guessed that two people properly backing off to a safe location and doing something preparing for the arrival of a roam they know is coming could kill one person? Who'd have thought? But yeah. Anyway, I got fed as hell early, but then started dying a lot when I kept trying to make sure nobody was roaming around alone. And we played a little too carefully in some spots and didn't push when we should, and didn't group up because we were so fed. We were just like, oh, we don't need to like group. And then like Ringo ended up started just like catching us in small groups and just destroying us. And so he managed to get to where he was dangerous because he was so fed. And then after that, we got our shit together. I didn't survive many team fights late because we had low engage on the team, and I wasn't playing quite accordingly to that. I could have died a lot less in that game, I'll admit. Overall, I contributed really well through like conveyance of information and like a bit of roaming and like trying my best to like save people. Because like even though we would die in these small groups, they weren't in condition to do anything after that. They got us, but they were like nearly freaking dead every time. Anyway, I did tons of AoE damage before going down, and even when I went down, I just like chunked everybody on the enemy team, and the rest of the team just proceeded to sweep over them like they were like a broom hitting dust. When the game timer got really long, though, when like it started to get where death timers were really long, we buckled our belts because we knew we couldn't afford any more deaths, and we got an ace at Baron, and then just like crushed it. So it was a good game overall. We made some mistakes, we could have played better, I could have played better, but overall, it went well. Everyone fucking played at a basic level, at least. Instead of like the previous other games where like, well, you're supposed to just be there and do things that are stupid. I'm going to do things that are stupid and blame you for my mistakes. And bring it back. Anyway, number 7. I lost. Went up against Garen Top. I think I was playing Pantheon. I didn't write that down, and it's been a little bit. But Garen Top, pretty much enough said there. The mid was also a whiny asshole that barely contributed anything, and complained he wasn't babysat enough even though he was practically getting every single gank. I made a few crucial mistakes that got me killed, and everyone took the chance to blame me for their ignoring map pings and wards again. See what I say about this not being as interesting as the previous thing? There's not nearly as much whimsically comical, rage-inducing variety in the stupidity. This is like 4 games, pretty much, in which the same thing happened. They make mistakes, not listening to information properly, or having any common sense about the basic mechanics of the lane's positions, and basic, strategy, and then blaming me because they are stupid. Just because they ignore map pings and don't ward appropriately, they blame me. Anyway, number 8, lost again. So here we're not going to be winning 3 like I did last season. The hope of doing at least as well as last year, out the window. I was doing fine again as ADC. You know how this is going to go if you listen to last season's video. I wasn't quite destroying my lane though this time, unlike the previous other times, but I was getting ahead. On the bright side, there were not really any strong complaints with the match. The Zed mid fed Kale, but that's sort of a tricky matchup at our elo. I mean, if he goes to burst her down, all she's got to do is invincibility shield, and it's like, boom, you're done. And I get crap tons of damage with Rage Blade, fuck you. So yeah. However, there was some things to complain about here. I only sling a mild complaint at the Lee Sin that revealed he was a noob to jungling and was using Lee Sin while new at it for some reason. Because, one of the most mechanically intensive junglers in the entire game, and you're new to jungling, not really something you should be doing in ranked. uh, but yeah, he was also, I think he might have been like first timing Lee Sin, but probably maybe not, because he did have reasonably decent mechanics. He did fairly well. He wasn't awful, so I won't complain about that too much. We just lost. Though I find it somewhat cruel that I nearly won last game as Lucian with a blitz, and partially due to mid, lost that game. Then the very next game I go against a Lucian and blitz, and we lose again partially due to mid. Curse you, cruel fate. Anyway. Number 9 was that one. Damn it! I can't keep track of my numbers. I meant to say number 10, because we've gone through 9 games. Number 10 was a win. We had a very competent team all around. I played a little too safe maybe early and missed some trading chances, but overall our team functioned super well together, and I ended my placements on a high note. That is until I dropped a whole rank to Bronze 4. This is a common thing in placements, like I said. If you've played a previous season, you're usually going to drop at least one rank from where you finished last season. Honestly, though, I can't complain too much about the ranking, because I didn't do very well this time around overall. And while last year I did at least passably in the majority of my games, even the ones I lost, I didn't freaking do super great in the games that I lost overall. I would give myself a much lower grade than last season. But yeah, that was kind of a little bit dull compared to last season, because last season was just like, had so much variety, and then like hell it was, and this was just annoying as fuck. So I will share some tales of my first few ranked games for the year, and here are some bronze nightmares, folks. Number 1, I go Talon mid. I should know better by this point, and I do fine. The team has 3 tanks though, the enemy. I know. Our team has 3 tanks though, and we do no damage other than me and the toxic as shit Ezreal. And the other team has 3 tanks too. I was a higher pick order, so I could not actually. They just like I picked, and then there was tanks. So nobody focuses the carries. The Ezreal blames me for something he's doing as well, and then the initiators don't understand that they're supposed to initiate. Hell, the Ezreal didn't even know Malphite or Poppy were tanks. Number 2. This one's got a long paragraph. Lost. Entire team goes AD, and thus I have to go Corki as bot laner for some AP damage. I get poked the shit out of due to the Karma Ezreal bot lane, which is the most nightmarish thing I've ever gone through. And the jungler not warding against invades and getting killed by the Karma. Which was partially our fault. We should have picked, and the support was missing, but it just didn't occur to us. That was our mistake. Anyway, I knew we were screwed up all the more in Champion Select when the top laner locked in Garen, saying he was OP, and laughing that they picked Renekton. 1, you don't laugh at somebody picking Renekton. Renekton is a solo queue freaking pub stomper. He is just devastating. He could build no damage items and still 100 to 0 something. And he's got a stun that is really easy to hit. You don't ever laugh at Renekton. He will fucking destroy your ass, even if you are a Garen. 2, he says like, oh, he's OP, this is an auto win. And he picked Garen into a team full of nothing but CC and kiting. Like, which are the 2 things that counter him? It's like, okay, this entire team hard counters Garen. I'll pick Garen. Mind you, the mid and jungler picked things hard countered by everything on the enemy team too. So I was butchered in my lane, and the rest of my team picked to be hard countered. So after spending 20 minutes getting butchered in every lane, they refused to surrender and waste my time for 15 more minutes of getting slaughtered, but having 2 team fights that I carried completely, and a third we should have won, but they don't think trapping an entire team in a damage over time slow they can't leave because they're in a bottleneck is a good thing. Is not a good thing to follow up on. It's just frustrating. Anyway, number 3. Let me check. This is the last one that I did a summary for. So yeah, this one makes up for the lack of sheer hellish toxicity in my placements, just by itself. This is vaguely comparable to that Jinx game that I had last time, where she went top and was just toxic as fuck. The amount of toxicity there it was just in pre-game and champion select was comparable, but doesn't match that game. If that gives you any indication of how fucking I should have dodged. Oh god. The jungler got toxic as fuck in champion select when somebody picked Vayne top. Then the mid laner, let me just give a vague idea of how sheer freaking toxic this guy got. It's oh, you're freaking Vayne top. I'll look up your match history on freaking OpGG. Oh, you have a 33% win rate with the Vayne top. It's you're complete shit. And he went and freaking did research to be toxic. That's how toxic he was. And then the mid laner banned Vayne. The Vayne picker thought it was the jungler and banned the jungler's champ. And then a huge shitstorm broke out. And if I had not had to put up with 7 dodges prior to this, I would have dodged, and I really should have anyway. We're back to me doing fine until the team fucks up. The mid laner was first timing LeBlanc mid. While someone argues she's not a mechanically intensive champion, she's easy damage, she does require some manner of comprehension of basic game mechanics and laning. Her difficulty comes from the mechanics of the game, not from her kit necessarily. She requires a high bit of game mechanical knowledge, and it's just first timing her in ranked. So a mid laner who banned someone's pick is one of the worst types of people in League who first time champions in ranked. So yeah, the mid laner was first timing LeBlanc mid, and the only tank we had was the Aurelia top, so we had absolutely no frontline, and I kept getting slaughtered over and over again every team fight because of that. The Aurelia being the one that picked the Vayne top originally. So yeah, basically team fights boiled down to, okay, we're all grouped up for a team fight, and we've got a decent position. Okay, frontliners, let's all jump to their back line. All of the freaking initiation CC that goes from the Ahri and the Thresh hooks and everything just goes straight at our back line. Something's gonna hit them. So every team fight amounts to, oh, we got the front line in the front. Me get hooked or charmed, one of the two, and then the team hits their CC on the team, CCing them in place. They kill me because the entire ally team is locked down, and then the team has pretty much no damage, and are just immediately in the freaking middle of all of them and die. That's what every team fight was like, because we had no front line. Anyway, the Aurelia started yelling at us for her dumb mistakes. I mean, enemy push to the tower, she has way she could go around here, Or she could go around like here, but she chooses to go the way that like, oh look, I'm here behind you, and like I'm going to like uh, reveal my position and get collapsed on, and yell at us like, where is the team? You, you could have just gone that way and been completely safe. You knew we weren't in a position to engage on that. Map awareness. Weren't even trying to engage. You were trying to avoid them in a stupid fucking way. Anyway, it was the same routine. We just kept getting freaking CC'd into oblivion, and they refused to adjust their freaking strategy accordingly. They just like, oh, let everyone have a free shot at our ADC, get CC'd, get our ADC deleted, and then die over and over and over and over and over again. I'm confident at this point that I'm never getting out of bronze. At least that was the note I put in there. But currently I'm sitting at like 47 LP after like having a 2-game win streak that were decent. The teams were good. Everyone was just doing what they were supposed to do. But overall, I've won an entire 4 or 5 games out of the 15 ranked games, including placements I've played. So yeah, I cannot recommend ranked. I can't. They say that like ranked is where the people who like try to win the game are. They say like, oh, normals are terrible players because they don't play to win. I'll just keep playing normals and stop and not go through the sheer freaking hell of bronze and possibly silver and freaking gold. I'm not gonna go through the hell to get to a higher elo of competition where people are more toxic because there's long-term consequences. Because some pro once said that normal players don't play to win, even though that's kind of like saying you order food at a restaurant to not eat. And it's like, oh, they're not eating that food intensely enough, so they're terrible at eating food. People play League of Legends to win matches. Even if they're just playing for fun, they're not playing to not win. They're still playing to win. They're still trying to win, because not trying to win the game is not something you play a game to do. That's just fucking stupid. But everyone that quotes that pro puts that in a literal context in which it probably wasn't meant and doesn't logically fit. So if you have not played ranked, don't. Just don't. It's going to be hell. You're going to lose because of teammates, or you're going to encounter really fucking toxic teammates, and you're just going to have a bad time no matter what you do or how good a player you are. It's just how it is. Just continue playing normals. People play that reasonably intensely too. They try to win. They play the game. It's the same fucking game. You're just not playing for arbitrary points. You're smarter than people who play freaking ranked because you're not playing ranked. You're not going through this shit. I took this bullet for you. I'm probably going to be perpetually stuck in bronze because of shit like this. And be stuck in the entirety of next season with a bronze border because I wanted to make this sequel video. But hey, I'll update later if I manage to get to my promotions out of bronze. See how those go. But until then, there's really not much point in me giving kind of like this kind of video on ranked play. Not even like for the promotions to different divisions. When I get to silver, though, I'll make you like a video about like the strife of my promotion series to get out of bronze. Like, if I fail the first time through, I'll just keep continuing making notes until I finally break through, and then I'll make a video like this, like I made notes after every placement match and read them off, often being very salty in the text. But yeah, for the time being, this is the end of the video. This went on for 40 minutes, longer than I intended it to be, but I did go through like 13 games. Next up, I'm going to be doing some pencil and paper RPG related content, rather than League content, most likely. I haven't been able to get Jin, the new champion in League of Legends, so I might not be doing content on him lately. I mean, not lately, but anytime soon until I get him. But yeah, probably going to be going to pencil and paper RPG content. I'm thinking of doing a video on a Pathfinder class called the Kineticist, but I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the pencil and paper RPG video, but I'm going to be doing that next, most assuredly. So anyway, this will be Cheese of Ages, signing off.